What's happening, my friends? It's Cat Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. Now, as usual, before I get started, let me give a shout out to the JBT community. It's just boxing talk. We're a group of people who just love to talk boxing. And we're always looking for others to join us. And you don't have to have a podcast. The only requirement is you just have to love to talk boxing. That's all. Salute to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cat Sports, the Box Story. Today, power punchers. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box Story. And that's me, your friendly neighborhood box historian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. It's Tuesday afternoon. Still early in the week. How's everyone doing this afternoon? Ryan Frazier, salute. Ryan Frazier at Boxing Talk Up North. Our friend from the great country of Canada. Salute, Ryan. How are you today? Today we're going to talk about power punchers. I did the show on spectacular knockouts last week. So today we're going to talk about some of the guys that execute those spectacular knockouts on a regular basis. I got a group of former boxers, some of the hardest punchers in the history of the sport. And then I got a group of active boxers, some of the most dangerous fighters in the sport. And we're going to talk about them all today. Even got a couple of women. Ann Wolf was a hard puncher. They say among the active women, Savannah Marshall is about the hardest puncher out there. I think Amanda Serrano would have something to say about that. Savannah got like a 70-something knockout rate. That ain't bad for female boxing. The NBA Finals ended last night. Boston wrapped it up 4-1. Take a quick look at that real quick. Boston 106, Dallas 88, 18-point win. Boston was led by Jason Tatum, 31 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, monster game. Jaylen Brown had 21 points for Boston, and Jaylen Brown is the Finals MVP. And the Mavericks in the losing cause was led by Luka Doncic, who had a great series. Last night he had 28 points, 12 rebounds. Had a double-double. Might have averaged a double-double on the series. I know he had a triple-double in there too, but Kyrie didn't really show up for Dallas. He didn't play as well in the finals as he did throughout the rest of the playoffs. But Boston Celtics, congratulations. 2024 National Basketball Association champions. NBA action is fantastic. Now back to boxing. Yeah, it's a Pro Box week also. Remember, Pro Box tomorrow night, and we got a Friday night card. I don't have any idea what we got coming up Saturday, but I know I think it's Rafael Espinosa is putting his making his first title defense of his junior lightweight belt, 126. Friday night. Some more Friday night boxing for us. This is a good thing. We can use as much boxing as we can get. You know. How's everybody? It's still Tuesday, beginning of the week. Let's take a look at what I got coming up this week. Of course, yesterday was the JBT panel discussion. Another good one. Had some of these knowledgeable boxing minds chopping it up yesterday. Today is going to be about power punchers. And tomorrow is a show that comes out of the chat. And this week is brought to you by Mike Mazik. And it's going to be the life and career of Tyrone Everett. That's right. I know the profile is usually on Friday, but when it's out of the chat, it's on Wednesday. Tyrone Everett was requested by Mike Mazik, so we're going to do that tomorrow. But it's going to be a good one, very good one. Tyrone Everett is quite a story. You know, life cut short at 24 years old, but he was a slick southpaw and was going places. So yeah, that'll be tomorrow, the life and career of Tyrone Everett. And then Thursday we continue the History of the State series. That's what I'm calling it. That's going to be a history of every state in America. We're just up to the second one this week, which is Arizona. Remember, Alabama was last week. So Thursday is going to be a history of boxing in Arizona. Just a history of boxing in the state. We'll get some significant events and things that happened over the years concerning boxing in the state. And then we look at some, do a profile on some boxers that came from the state of Arizona. Like, I can think of one good one right now, Michael Carbajal from Arizona. He is definitely going to be a part of it, the profile Thursday. And then this week on Profile Day, which is Friday, is going to be the life and career of King Carlos Monzon this week. Great middleweight from the 70s. You know, the 70s, just about all those guys that were champions in the 70s, just about is in the Hall of Fame. I would say like 90% of them is in the Hall of Fame. Just a great decade. Golden era for the heavyweights, but it was a great decade for boxing periods in the 1970s. And Friday is going to be a profile from one of the great champions from that era, King Carlos Monzon. I'm trying to see what we got going on Saturday. I know we got Friday, we got the Rafael Espinoza fight against Sergio Chirino for Espinoza's WBO featherweight title. Floyd Diaz on the card. All right. And we got that Bam Rodriguez and Rafael and Julio and Juan Francisco Estrada coming up too. I don't see anything for Saturday. I guess we got the Friday night card. I don't see anything for this Saturday. But we got Teofimo June 29th against Steve Claggett. Now that's what day is that on? June 29th. Yeah. Well, that's the following Saturday, okay. But yeah, we're still in good shape as far as boxing goes as we get into the summer. Oh yeah, that's June 29th. Juan Francisco and Bam Rodriguez. Bam has actually fought at 115 before. He's returning to that division. I think he may have held that belt before. But you know, it's only 3 pounds difference down there, so it's no big deal to jump from junior flyweight to flyweight. You know, only 3 pounds. As a matter of fact, it's only like 10 pounds between 112 flyweight and super bantamweight. From 112 to 122, it's 4 weight classes packed in there. So yeah, that's why, you know, guys like Pacquiao, Monster, just went through so many weight classes down there because they're very close together. You know, actually Manny, he went through 8 weight classes, but it's only 40-something pounds. Now Tommy Hearns he didn't go through 8 weight classes, but he actually went up more pounds than Manny. Tommy went up 50 pounds. I think it was 5 weight classes because, you know, he was going up through classes that were further spread apart than Manny was. So yeah, Mike Mazik in the building. What's up, Mike? Yeah, did you hear it, Mike? I'm doing that profile on Tyrone Everett tomorrow. Brought to you by Mike Mazik because tomorrow is Wednesday. You know, in the profile that comes out of the chat. That's a good one, Mike. Everybody, make sure you show up for that one tomorrow. That is a good one, Mike. Don't tell them about it. Very good one. Life and career of Tyrone Everett. Life cut short at 24 years old. I saw Melanin Queen 27 in the building. I knew I saw the Queen's name. How are you today, Queen? Good to see you. Early in the show today. Talking about power punches today. You know, since I did the show on spectacular knockouts last week. I thought I would do the show on some of the guys who execute those knockouts today, the power punches. Yeah, Mike, the Celtics finished them off last night. I figured they would do it in front of the home crowd. They kind of took the day off Friday for Game 4 and let Dallas have that one. And then they took care of business yesterday. Jason Tatum had a monster game. Jaylen Brown got the most valuable player for the finals, though. I think he deserved it. He had an awesome playoff run. Jaylen Brown really did a great job. Then Boston hangs up another banner up in the rafters. It's a lot of them up there. Ooh-wee. Going back to the John Havlicek, Bill Russell era, on up through the Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, Danny Ainge era. And then they had some more championships with Paul George and all those guys. And now the Celtics are at it again, putting up some more banners. They're going to run out of room up there to hang those banners up there in Boston. But that's good management, you know. The team might have an off year once every 15 seasons or something, where some teams never make the playoffs. It's all about the management of the team, you know. And Boston has had great management over the years. Like I was saying last week, you can count on one finger the amount of times they've missed the playoffs since the Larry Bird era 40 years ago up to now, you know. But yeah, Boston, congratulations to the Boston Celtics and their fans. But today, it's power punches in boxing. Gonna wait about 10 more minutes, let a few more people get in. But how's everybody today? It's good to see everybody again. We're gonna, I got some talk about some. I don't usually talk about active fighters, but I'm gonna talk about some active fighters today. You know, like Deontay Wilder, the Monster, Tank Davis, who we saw in action Saturday. Got to talk about Artur Beterbiev, yeah. And of course, the former guys like Foreman, Ernie Shavers, Jerry Cooney, packed a hard wallet. Cooney had that big fight with Holmes in the 80s, and then you never heard too much. After he lost that fight, you didn't hear too much more about him after that. He was had a pretty good knockout rate. Most of these guys' knockout rates are above 80. Got a couple of women boxers on the list too. Ann Wolf, they say Ann was the hardest puncher in the history of women's boxing, and Savannah's supposed to be the hardest puncher currently. But like I said, Amanda Serrano would have something to say about that, because Amanda packs a pretty good wallet too. Amanda's supposed to have that match coming up with Katie Taylor, the rematch, I think. Is it July? Boxing is just off the charts right now. We just had the face of boxing in there last weekend, and then we got Jerome Bucenis coming up. We got Bam Rodriguez and Juan Francisco and Strada coming up in a couple weeks. Teofimo fighting Steve Claggett, whoever that is. Anybody know who Steve Claggett is? This is the first time I heard of him. We get rumblings from the Saudis about Canelo and Bud. I'm picking Canelo because, you know, they have weight classes for a reason, man. And I can't see Bud just jumping up 3 weight classes and beating Canelo. I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo stops him. You know, they have weight classes for a reason. And you know how the guys used to do it was the guys that went 3 weight classes, but they would go like from 147, fight for a while at 154, have a few fights at 160, then fight at 168. They didn't just go from 147 to 168. No, that's not the way to do it. And if Bud can go through those 3 weight classes and beat Canelo, then hey, his legacy is. You talk about him in the same tone as the greatest ones like Ali, Joe Louis, them guys. If he does that, you know, but I don't think he's going to do it. But the Saudis are talking about making it, and Canelo has finally said he's okay to do it if the money is right. And that's one thing the Saudis have is the money. Yeah, and they got their first card in the U.S. coming up. Remember, August 3rd, the Terrence Crawford Israel Matrimony card, T.O. and Pitbull. Now the Virgil and Tim Tszyu fight is off, right? They're not having it anymore, I don't think, because I heard it was too soon for the injuries that Virgil had. You know, not Virgil, Tim Tszyu. The injury, the cut, the stuff he suffered in the Pandora fight. Yeah, that was a serious cut. I was thinking, August. No, that's kind of fast. But it was a good fight. It's still a good card. Like I said, Pitbull and Rayo. I think David Morrell's on that card, I believe. Fighting at light heavyweight. Barrios is on one of them coming up. We got Earl Spence and Fundora later in the year. The rematch, Fury and Usyk, and what's the other one I was thinking about? Oh, Bivol and Beterbiev. Yeah, got that one coming up again. If Beterbiev can stay healthy, that is. I'm picking Bivol in that one. I think he'll be able to use his boxing skills to stay away for 12 rounds. Guy's got a great gas tank. He'll be able to move like Frank Martin was doing so well against Tank early with the movement, but he got tired and he couldn't do that for 12 rounds, and Tank caught up with him. Bivol will be able to do that for 12 rounds against Beterbiev and stay away from him. Box him, score, hit and not get hit, and be able to come out of it with a decision. And be undisputed at light heavyweight. We got David Benavidez up there now, WBC interim champion. He'll be trying to get a fight against the winner of that one. David's gonna have to pick up the power a little, because going up against the guy Saturday, he wasn't being effective, with the punching power. He was hitting the guy with everything he had, and the guy was just, got stronger. Like old school said, the guy was getting stronger as the fight went on. Whereas it was having the opposite effect at 168. David was breaking guys down with those punches at 168, but at 175 in his first fight, it didn't work that way. Didn't break the guy down at all. His opponent got strong and was winning those, put a string of those late rounds together. Yeah. But David had done enough earlier to pull it off. But against Bivol or Beterbiev, no. He's not going to get away with that against those two guys. But we'll see. That's what makes it so interesting now. David Benavidez in the mix at 175 now. I think David Morrell's at 175 too, right? I believe he is. Now, I don't know. David Benavidez said he wanted to fight in both divisions. Okay. He said he had no problem going back there. I don't know about that, though. That's a big guy. I don't know if he's going to be able to jump up and down like that. And plus, that's not good. Look at Roy Jones, remember how he went up to heavyweight, and then he came back down and got sparked by Antonio Tarver. That was directly related to going up and down through those weight classes. So, I don't know. I just think, as you gradually move through the weight classes, once you move up, stay up, But, I don't know. They pay these nutritionists and everything nowadays. I guess it's easier to go up and down. But we're going to get ready to get started in about 5 minutes. like I said, Pro Box Week. We're going to preview that tomorrow. I think hashtag Let's Talk Fashion returns tomorrow. 20th, 19th. Yeah, hashtag Let's Talk Fashion returns tomorrow with a new season. Looking forward to that. We had the new show, Angry White Men, kicked off last Friday. We have Prison Talk with Coach Tommy. Prison Talk with Tommy. Another new channel in the JBT. Yeah, we're growing. We have the regular 4 shows that's been coming on for a while. Hardcore Boxing News at 8, Cast Sports at 2, Just Do Boxing at 4, The Rise Podcast at 8. We got Amber Queen's Casual Corner, the Unboxing News. We don't have regular schedules. Just need to turn your notifications on. And you might see them at any time. Yeah, but let's get ready to get started on today's show. Power Punchers. Yeah, Ron Ennis and David Ebenezer replaced Cody Crowley. Still have Virgil Ortiz and Tim Tszyu. I thought that fight had been canceled, but I don't know. Still have that listed for August 3rd. Okay, let's get ready to get started with today's show. Excuse me, bear with me for one moment. Everybody okay this Tuesday afternoon? Lonnie Lee will be here. Al Booger, all the regulars. Okay, Power Punchers. My slide display ready for you. It's a mean right hand that guy right that's through, isn't it? Power Punchers. That's the name of the show. So now, basketball is over. I think the NHL season is over too, right? We got baseball and closing it on July. NFL training camps will be opening. And then we have football. Looking forward to that. I think my Ravens, on paper, they had their best chance in a long time to win a championship last season. I don't think they're going to be as good this year. We lost one of our 2 linebackers that anchored that defense we had. So that's going to hurt. And we have nobody to replace him. So. But we added Derrick Henry. Derrick is older now, but hey, still a great addition to the team. We lost Gus Edwards and added Derrick Henry. And we still have Lamar. As long as we got Lamar, we're in the hunt. Okay, enough of that. This is boxing. Power Puncher. Okay, excuse me. Now, boxing fans appreciate nothing more than their favorite boxer putting an opponent away with a knockout. Excuse me. It removes any doubt about who the better fighter was that day. Now, punching power is one of the most valuable attributes a boxer can have, and it often makes up for technical weaknesses, okay? Boxers like Deontay Wilder have reached the highest levels in boxing due to their out-of-this-world punching power, despite not being as technical as you would expect a championship-level boxer to be, okay? Now, so let's take a look at some of the hardest punchers in boxing history. This is just going to be a group of former boxers we're going to talk about first. Then later, I got some current fighters that we're going to talk about. But these are some of the some former boxers, some of the hardest punchers in boxing history. Okay, starting out with Gerry Cooney. Let's start with Gerry. There's Gerry. Facing you there. Now, Gerry Cooney. He was part of one of the biggest heavyweight fights of the 1980s when he had the showdown with Larry Holmes. It was in June 1982. Okay. Now, Cooney ended up suffering the first loss of his career by a 13th round TKO. And after that loss, he was never a factor in the heavyweight division again. But coming into that fight against Holmes, Cooney had built a reputation as a ferocious puncher. His last two fights leading up to the Holmes fight were destructive round one stoppages of Ken Norton and Ron Lyle, two of the top heavyweights of the day, two top 10 heavyweights of that era. And Cooney had stopped both of them in the first round coming into that fight against Holmes. Okay. Now, Cooney was 6'6". He was really one of the first of those real big, 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" guys to start coming into the heavyweight division. Okay. And Cooney was 6'6", and he had a crushing left hook to the body. And he had a stiff jab that zapped his opponents even as it set up his bigger artillery. Gerry Cooney. Okay. Next. Some of the hardest punchers in boxing history. Big George Foreman. Thomas Hill. What's up? Thomas T. Hill. Hashtag JBT. And Let's Talk Fashion. AKA Remo. Hashtag JBT. Back in the building. I know you had a nice time down there, Remo. Good to see you back. And like I was just saying about 5 minutes ago, the season premiere, Let's Talk Fashion, is tomorrow. I'm not going to say how long it is, 4 hours. But the season premiere is tomorrow of hashtag Let's Talk Fashion. We're looking forward to that. Welcome back. Let's Talk Fashion. Okay, let's carry on. We are now on Big George Foreman, some of the hardest punchers of all time. Okay, Big George. There's Big George. Is he up there? Yeah. Wait a minute now. Yeah. I had two versions of Big George, but I left the old version off. That's the last version of Big George there, man. Okay. Now, one generation of fans witnessed the chiseled Olympic champion slugging his way through the heavyweight division from 1969 to 1977. And I left that picture off. And then the next generation watched as the pudgy, but still immensely strong ex-champion picked up where he had left off at. That's the one that you see there. A decade earlier. Now, both versions of Big George could knock your head off, right? And Evander Holyfield said, George Foreman hit me harder than any other fighter I ever been in there with. And Evander outpointed the second incarnation of Big George. Evander added, he didn't knock me down, but with one shot, I thought he had knocked my teeth out. That's how Evander felt about Big George. Now, many people feared for Muhammad Ali before his meeting with George Foreman in 1974. Coming into that fight, Foreman had 40 wins, no losses, 37 knockouts, okay? And he had stopped 11 of his previous 12 opponents leading into that fight. And he had stopped all 11 of them within 2 rounds, in the first 2 rounds, right? Including Joe Frazier and Ken Norton. That's why people were scared for Ali coming into that fight. But Ali used the rope-a-dope strategy on him to wear Foreman down and ended up knocking him out. But not many of Foreman's opponents were as fortunate as Ali. Foreman retired in 1977, but he returned a decade later and continued his reign of terror. Now, he failed in a few attempts to regain his title before he got a shot against Michael Moorer in 1994. And Moorer was ahead on all judges' scorecards when a big right hand from Big George split Foreman's gloves and put him down for the count. And that's when Foreman became and remains the oldest man to win the heavyweight title at 45 years old. And that record stands to right now this second in 2024. Big George. Okay. Another one of the hardest punches of all time. You can say Big George, Little Smoking Joe Frazier. Yeah, Joe was a little small heavyweight. Probably would be a cruiserweight right now. But Joe Frazier makes the list. And by the way, I forgot to give you the knockout rates. Bear with me for a second. Jerry Cooney. Okay. I wrote the knockout rates down. I might as well give them to you, right? Jerry Cooney's knockout rate was 85%, okay? Big George. Okay. Big George's knockout rate was 89%. Joe Frazier, 84%. Like I was saying before, most of these guys are over 80%. That's on this list. Big Joe checks in at 84%, okay? Now, Joe Frazier. Oh, you still out there? Leaving in a few hours. Okay, Reba. All right. Appreciate it. You back on the air tomorrow, right? Let's talk fresh. The big season premieres tomorrow, right? Okay, Joe Frazier. Now, one knockdown that stands out as one of the most memorable of all time was the Frazier left hook that landed on the jaw of Muhammad Ali in the 15th round in their first fight. Now, Ali survived, but Frazier in that moment sealed his reputation as having one of the most lethal punches in boxing history. That left hook, yeah. Retired heavyweight Stan Ward, who sparred with both Frazier and Big George Foreman, was asked which of the two punched harder. No hesitation, Ward said, Frazier. And then he repeated it again, Smoking Joe. He said Smoking Joe wasn't a mere puncher. He was a quick, athletic, bobbing, weaving, whirling dervish of a fighter who made life hell for anyone who faced him. And, like I said, Joe wasn't a big man. He was just 5'11.5", fighting at heavyweight. And not much over 200 pounds at his best. Might have been under in some fights. Still, his punches, particularly that left hook, okay, could make your head spin around multiple times. Now, Joe was only 3-4-1 in his final 8 fights. However, those with whom he tangled understood the impact of his punches and fire he brought into the ring every time out. Former boxer Joe Bugner said, I have to say that the most vicious and relentless fighter on the planet in those days was Smoking Joe Frazier. Yeah. And Smoking Joe and Muhammad Ali retired a week apart. Okay. Next up is Vladimir Klitschko. Knockout rate retired with a knockout rate of 83%. Vladimir Klitschko. Okay. Now, Klitschko is the most accomplished heavyweight of a period that stretched from 2000 to 2015, 15 years, most of which he held at least one major title. That entire time, 15 years. Now, his style wasn't complicated. He used his height, 6'6", and reach, as well as good footwork, to keep his opponents at a safe distance. From there, he would fight behind an excellent jarring jab. And then he would set up one of the biggest right hands ever. His trainer, Emanuel Steward, said, Klitschko is the most accurate single punch knockout guy I have seen. And you know, Emanuel Steward, he managed Hearns amongst a bunch of other legendary fighters. He said, a guy can be completely fine, not hurt, and Vladimir can put his lights out with one shot. And remember, Emanuel Steward saw all the great ones over half a century or so. So that's high praise coming from him. Phil Jackson was stopped by a young Klitschko and later sparred with him. Phil Jackson said was also KO'd by Lennox Lewis. And Phil said Klitschko punched harder than Lewis. Okay? Next up is Lennox Lewis. Is Lennox on the left. Lennox retired with a knockout rate of 78%. These are some of the hardest punchers in the history of boxing we're talking about today. Lennox Lewis, career 78% knockout rate. Now, Lennox is an Olympic champion who held 6 major titles over a decade that he dominated, okay? He was a complete boxer. He was a good athlete, okay? Especially for a 6'5" guy. And he was a clever technician. And he had one of the best jabs of his era, okay? However, his straight right usually landed from the perfect distance. And that straight right, that was his calling card, okay? When it landed flush, his fights usually changed in an instant. And the punch that floored Razor Ruddock, the one he landed that ended Hasim Rahman's night in their rematch, and the shots that led to Mike Tyson's demise stand out. But it was many, many more noteworthy ones. And one of Lennox's sparring partners reportedly said, the man hit like a tank. Lennox Lewis, one of the hardest punchers in boxing history. Sonny Liston, the Big Bear. Talking about the hardest boxing punches in history, you got to talk about the Big Bear. Okay, Sonny Liston. He had a career knockout rate of 78%. Not bad. Up to right around 80. Now, Sonny Liston is one of the most underappreciated boxers in history, in part because of the way he lost back-to-back fights to young Muhammad Ali, or Cassius Clay at the time of the first one. But make no mistake, Sonny was his generation's George Foreman or Mike Tyson. He was terrifying. Now, Sonny wasn't huge. He was only 6'1", around 220 pounds. But he was thick and strong. His legendary jab had the impact of some fighters' power punches, okay? And his own power shots. There was a reason Custody Amato, Floyd Patterson's manager, didn't want his fighter anywhere near Sonny, okay? He knew what would happen. And it did when they finally got in there with him. Liston stopped Patterson in the first round to win the championship, And then he stopped it in the first round in the rematch to retain the championship. So that's why Cuss kept Floyd Patterson away from Liston all those years, okay? And at that point, he had the same aura that Foreman and Tyson would later have, that of someone who seemed invincible, okay? But then Ali came along and quickly debunked that notion. However, we can now look back on Liston's career in its totality. Before Ali, Liston was as dangerous as any heavyweight fighter in history in any era. He was a menacing fighter who perfected the strategy of seek and destroy. Foreman, who sparred Liston, said, "He was the only man I ever faced who could force me to go backwards." Okay, that's George Foreman. That Sonny Liston was the only man that could force him to go backwards. Sonny Liston, the Big Bear. Next, on the most dangerous punchers of all time, Lonnie Lee, hashtag JBT in the building. What's up, Lonnie Lee? Power punches today, Lonnie. We talked about spectacular knockouts last week, so today I thought we'd talk about some of the guys that execute those spectacular knockouts on a regular basis. But salute, Lonnie Lee. Welcome aboard. Good to see you. I knew you were on the way. Okay, let's continue with Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber. There he is. There's the Brown Bomber on the screen. Joe Louis finished his career with a 79% knockout rate. Told you all these guys are rated up around 80. Majority of them over 80, but right up around 80%. Okay, wait a minute. I didn't mean to change that. Here's the Brown Bomber, Joe Louis. Now, the Brown Bomber's punches were unusually fast, technically sound, and naturally heavy. In other words, they were lethal, okay? Quick, skillful boxers could give Louis trouble, but as Louis told rival Billy Conn, you can run, but you can't hide. Conn became too brave in his first fight with Louis and ended up like the majority of Louis's opponents, on the canvas and unable to continue. Louis's most devastating knockout came in 1938 when in a rematch where he was representing the United States, he annihilated Max Schmeling of Germany in 124 seconds. Louis was as destructive as anyone in boxing history. Now, I said he was representing the United States because before that fight, that was like right around World War II, right before World War II, and Hitler and the Nazis was over there showing off, and President Roosevelt had called Louis to the White House and told him that the free world was dependent on him to win that fight. So, yeah, and he didn't play with his food. Got him out in 124 seconds. Wow. First round, rematch. Okay. Next, on the hardest punches of all time, is Ron Lyle. Okay, there's Ron Lyle. Ronnie Lyle. Now, he ended up with a 72% knockout rate. Okay. Now, Ron Lyle is another hard-hitting heavyweight that never won a championship, despite being one of the best boxers of his era. But see, he fought in the 70s, you know, the golden era for heavyweights. Nowadays, Lyle would definitely have a title. If he was a heavyweight in this era, but in the 70s, him, Jerry Cooney, Ernie Shavers, none of those guys won titles. All three of them would have titles nowadays, I guarantee you. But in that tough era with Ali, Frazier, Holmes, Norton, Foreman, all those guys, it was hard to win a title, man. When one of those guys had the title throughout the 70s, Ali, Frazier, Norton, Holmes. So, you know, guys like Lyle, Shavers, Cooney, just couldn't get in there. But nowadays, they would no doubt be champions. Yeah, but Lyle never did get a title. Now, Ron Lyle was winning his 1975 fight with Muhammad Ali on all three judges' scorecards before Ali was awarded a controversial TKO in the 11th round. They stopped it. Yeah, it was one of those like Tony Weeks, Barroso type stoppages. Yeah, like what the hell he stopped the fight for? But Ali got a lot of favorable treatment back there, you know. That was Ali. Okay. Freestyle Media Sports in the building. What's up, Freestyle Media Sports? How are you, my brother? Good to see you today. Talking about power punches. Right now, we're talking about some of the hardest punches of all time, some former punches. In a minute, we're going to talk about some current guys. You know, I don't usually talk about active fighters. We're going to talk about some active fighters. Like the face of boxing, who you saw take care of business Saturday. Deontay Wilder. Arthur Beterbiev. Yeah. The Monster. We're going to get into some of them in a minute. So don't go nowhere. And we got a fire pro show tomorrow brought to you by Mike Mazik. Because tomorrow is Wednesday where the show comes out of the chat. It's a profile this week on Tyrone Everett. It is a good one. Good one, Mike. Good job. Don't tell them about it, Mike. It's a good one. Stop by tomorrow, everybody. You will see that. His life was cut short, and what a story. But let's get back to this. Power punches. Okay, but salute Freestyle Media Sports in the building. Appreciate you. Everybody hitting on that like button. Okay. Thank you. Appreciation button. Yeah. Ron Lyle. They stopped that fight against Ali. He was winning on all three judges' cards in the 11th round, right? I think it was scheduled for 12 because it had 12 and 15 back then. And they just stopped it, and there was no reason to stop it. Very controversial. The reason it was stopped because Ali was on his way to losing. Him and Sugar Ray Leonard got a lot of good treatment back in the days. Everybody loved Sugar Ray, the All-American guy, Olympic champion, and of course Ali known as the greatest. So they got a lot of favorable treatment. But yeah, and Lyle never won a title, but he had his chance right there, and he almost had it. And rightfully, he did have it. Yep. So Ali needed a knockout to win, and they controversially stopped it and gave him a TKO. Go figure. But yeah. Lyle even went to war with George Foreman in what turned out to be one of the most exciting competitive fights in boxing history. Yeah, that was a 5-round fight that won Fight of the Year. Just like Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns' 3-round fight in 85 won Fight of the Year. This one was 10 years earlier in 75. So that's to tell you right there what kind of fight it was. Just 5 rounds, but it won Fight of the Year. Ron Lyle and George Foreman. I think it was like 4 or 5 knockdowns, 3 in 1 round. You know, I think Lyle knocked Foreman down twice in the 5th, and then Foreman knocked him down to end it in the 5th. What a fight! But that's one worth Googling. Ron Lyle and George Foreman, 1975. Yeah. Okay. Next on the list of hardest punches of all time. You know, I had to put him on there. You know, Cash Sports wasn't going to make any kind of heavyweight list without leaving this man off. That's right. Anybody that don't like it, put it in the chat. Rocky Marciano. Okay? Put it in the chat. Rocky Marciano. He had a knockout rate of 88% when it ended his career. Almost 90% knockout rate. You always get on my nerves talking about, he was fighting, how they say it, past their prime people. The man he hitting right there was Suzy Q. Wasn't past the prime. He was heavyweight champion. Wasn't nobody else beating him, right? That's Jersey Joe Walcott. Suzy Q land perfectly. What is it, a hook or a right cross? Put his lips on the side of his face. I love that shit. But Rocky Marciano, career 88% knockout rate, not bad. Now Rocky's primary strengths might have been his inhumane stamina, volume of hard punches, and durability. But make no mistake, okay? Make no mistake. The Rock could crack, okay? His one-punch destruction of Hall of Famer Jersey Joe Walcott, that's it right there on the screen, on September 23rd, 1952, is arguably the greatest single shot in boxing history. That punch right there is arguably the greatest single punch in boxing history. Susie Q meeting Jersey Joe Walcott's left side of his face and moved the middle of his face to the right side of his face. See, look at that. Yeah. And Jersey Joe Walcott. They also fought Joe Louis. And the guy Rock hitting right there, Walcott was asked, who punched harder, Joe Louis or Rocky Marciano? Walcott responded, Marciano was a one-punch artist. He threw every punch like you throw a baseball, as hard as he could. I had to say, with all due respect to Joe, Marciano hit a lot harder. Okay? Now, Marciano was small by today's standards, like Joe Frazier. Get this. He generally fought between 184 and 189 pounds. Because see, heavyweight started at 175 then, because there wasn't no cruiserweight. It was right after light heavyweight. And Rocky fought at 184, 189. But to be fair, it was a small era overall. But 184, 189 is still small. Wow. For that era. Which would make him a small cruiserweight today. Not just a cruiserweight today, a small cruiserweight, okay? Probably could make light heavyweight. But you couldn't count Rocky out of any fight in any era. Former fighter Carmen Basilio said in 2012, Rocky would have done just fine in this era. Today he looked like a midget against some of those heavyweights around nowadays, but he'd clobber all of them. A great, very tough fighter. The Rock, Rocky Marciano, okay? Yeah, okay. Ernie Shavers. I was going backwards. I thought I did George Foreman. Now here's the man everybody always, almost every heavyweight from that era say is the hardest puncher. Ernie Shavers. Okay? Ernie Shavers. Career, 92% knockout rate. Okay? Here's Ernie. One thing that stands out about Ernie Shavers' legendary power is the number of early knockouts on his record. Okay? Now listen carefully. He had 68 stoppages during his career. Guess what? 51 of them came in the first 3 rounds. 51. That's got to be a record. 51 knockouts in the first 3 rounds. And you thought Mike Tyson was doing something in the 80s? Mike Tyson came nowhere close to that. 51 stoppages in the first 3 rounds. And not all of his victims were pushovers. He was a longtime contender who fought ranked fighters on a regular basis, beginning in the mid-1970s. Journeyman Leroy Cardwell fought many of the best heavyweights from the late 1960s to the early 1980s. He was asked who punched the hardest. Shavers, said Cardwell, who lasted less than 2 rounds with Ernie. Cardwell was also asked, when did he know he was in trouble in his fight against Shavers? And Cardwell said, when they were taking my gloves off. That's when he woke up. Shavers never won the heavyweight title, another one like Lau. Never won the heavyweight title. But people are still talking about that amazing punching power right now, today. Okay? Ernie Shavers. Bad man. Okay? Okay. Now we got a couple more of the former guys, and then we're going to go to the current people. Okay, next is David Tua. Is David's on here? Yes, David Tua. Okay. David Tua. Career 83% knockout rate. Get a drink of water. I hope everybody enjoying the show. It's Tuesday. Boxing history. That's all. You know. Now David Tua is one of the best heavyweights who never won a title. There's another one in boxing history, despite having enough power to put anyone to sleep. Now, his biggest flaw was his inability to cut off the ring against world-class boxers effectively. And that allowed his opponents to circle away from him, you know, to avoid getting caught by him. He holds first round stoppages against the likes of Michael Moorer and Asim Rahman. This knockout of Moorer is one of the fastest in boxing history, as he only needed 30 seconds to put Moorer away. 30 seconds. That's all it took him. This knockout of Michael Moorer. David Tua. Okay? And the last one of the former guys, Mike Tyson. That ain't on Mike Tyson. I went back. There's oh wait, it was Mike. Sorry. There's Mike. Mike Tyson. Okay. Mike had a career 88% knockout rate. No heavyweight in history made a bigger impression with his punching power than Mike Tyson in the 1980s. Of course, one reason is that his dominance of the division was available to everyone on TV. So he captured the imagination of even casual fans around the world. It wasn't his solid technique or unusual quickness that attracted attention to Tyson. It was his ability to render up opponents unconscious at any moment of the fight, okay? And it was important to be paying close attention from the opening bell forward, okay? Because like I just said, Tyson's fight could end at any moment. Now see, I was just saying, Ernie had 58 in the first 3 rounds. Tyson had a remarkable 22 first-round knockouts, so not bad. Ernie's was first 3 rounds. Tyson had 22 in the first. Just Do Boxing. What's up, bro? Good to see you. Just Do Boxing, the voice is in the building. Coming up at 4 p.m. with another fire build in these JBT streets. Salute Just Do Boxing. Okay. Boxing. Power punches today, bro. Okay, now we were talking about Iron Mike Tyson. Yeah, 22 first round knockouts for Mike. Amazing. Teddy Atlas said this about Mike. He had a combination of quickness, speed, and power, which is not common. As far as punching ability, he was like a Mickey Mantle in baseball. He could hit from either side of the plate just as well. Again, not common in boxing. Guys like Ernie Shavers were great punchers, but all from the right side. Tyson was either side of the plate. And Mike Tyson was a true phenomenon. Yep. Now we're going to talk about some active guys. I don't usually do this, but we got some great hard hitters out there among the active guys. So I thought today, let's talk about some active guys. Okay? Let's see. I got to get back to where I was at. Okay. Now, who are boxing's most dangerous active fighters, punchers? Now, considering recent activity, overall resume, and history of devastating knockouts, let's take a look at some of the most dangerous active punchers. Okay? Some of the most dangerous active punchers. Okay? Yeah. I'm all shook up. I was supposed to say I'm all mixed up. I'm all shook up. There we go. Page 14. I got like 30 pages of notes. Okay, Mike Tyson was last. I think Deontay Wilder's first year. He's had a couple losses, but I'm talking about hard punches, active fighters. Got to put Deontay on there. Ran into some rough times lately, but he still got that 98% knockout rate. Okay, can't take that away from him. Mike Grimm in the building. What's up, Mike Grimm? How are you today, bro? You're just in time to look at some of the most dangerous punchers among active fighters, starting out with Deontay Wilder. And like I was saying, he ran into some rough times this last couple of fights, but he still got that 98% knockout rate, okay? Let's talk about Deontay for a minute. Deontay Wilder. You can see somebody's on the mat back there. You can see a little bit of it. Okay, Deontay Wilder. Like I said, 98% knockout rate. Okay? Still got that. And one remarkable aspect of Deontay Wilder's punching power is his size. You know, the Bronze Bomber is tall at 6'7", but he's relatively smallish among today's heavyweights, generally fighting in the 220s. Generally, sometimes, you know, in the teens, you know. What was his last one? 217 or something against Zhang? Yeah. So smallish with all that power. Still, his punching power is tremendous. His horrific one-punch knockout of Dominique Breazeale in May 2019 left no doubt about his ability to turn out the lights at any moment in a fight. Malik Scott, who lasted only 96 seconds against Wilder, now his trainer, said, unusual speed is a key element in Wilder's power. Retired heavyweight Richard Towers reportedly has sparred with many top heavyweights. Richard Towers has reportedly sparred with many top heavyweights, right? Many top heavyweights, including Anthony Joshua, both Klitschko brothers, Tyson Fury, and Deontay. And he stated, I've sparred with every heavyweight you can think of, except Joseph Parker. And when it comes to power, Deontay Wilder is in a league of his own, okay? This guy sparred the Klitschko brothers, Anthony Joshua, and Tyson Fury. And he said Wilder is up here and they down there, okay? Next, the list on the current, some of the most dangerous among active boxers currently boxing right now in 2024, Artur Beterbiev. Here's Artur on the left. Is that Callum Smith? He's hitting. Is that Callum? I'm not sure. Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more in the building. What's up, Bruce Gas? We are talking about dangerous punches right now. And talking about some active guys. I don't usually do that, but yeah. We got some good, hard, dangerous, active punches out here nowadays. So that's what we're talking about. Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Salute. Right now we have Artur Beterbiev on the screen. Yep. Got a big fight coming up against Bivol. It was supposed to be first of this month, but Artur had a little injury. But we still getting it. I got Bivol, by the way. Bivol's gonna use that fantastic boxing skills and outbox Beterbiev, outpointing. Bivol gonna be in there counting punches like Floyd used to do, making sure he win more rounds. Watch. Beterbiev is not gonna be able to track him down. But right now we're talking about Archer, dangerous puncher. And guess what his knockout rate is? 100%. Stopped everybody he been in there with. All of them. Nobody's went the distance with. One man got into the truck. One man went 11 rounds, 2 minutes, and 33 seconds. Artur stopped it with 27 seconds left in the fight. Yep. Now, Artur Beterbiev is a great boxer who has mythical type power, as he has stopped all of his opponents, even retiring some. Not just stopped them in the fight, ended their careers. Wow. Beterbiev is one of the most feared boxers in the sport today. Opponents can't just box him. At some point, you have to fight him. That goes against what I just said. I said Bivol's going to be able to just box him, but no. They said you can't just box him. At some point, Bivol is going to have to fight him. I don't know about that one. Bivol going to box him for 12 rounds. But most of the time, at some point, you have to fight him. He is currently the WBC, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight champion. Yep, 3-belt unified. Beterbiev has been compared to Mike Tyson due to his come-forward aggressive style, devastating punching power, and ability to finish opponents when they are vulnerable. Okay? Beterbiev also possesses a power jab, okay, and a stiff, straight right hand that he uses to break his opponent's guards with his smart, swarming pressure. Once Beterbiev is rolling downhill and in a rhythm, it's over for any opponent standing in front of him. And growing up, Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson were his idols. Yeah, Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson were his idols. Artur Beterbiev. Okay, we're talking about some of the most dangerous punchers in boxing today. Next, there's Trump. What's up, Trump? Usually see Trump on Friday. Trump is here early today this week. What's up, Trump? We are talking about power punches. And Trump, we got 2 profiles this week. Tomorrow is boy, I gotta look up the name. Sorry about that. Is it David Everett? Somebody Everett. Tyrone Everett. The life and career of Tyrone Everett tomorrow. Don't miss it. It's going to be a good one. Okay. Okay. Naoya Inoue is next, by the way. There's Mr. Monster. Come on, Monster. I got it. Thought I had it. There's the Monster. Okay. Naoya Inoue. He has an 88% knockout rate right now, currently. Okay? The Monster is a punching body. He's a punishing body puncher with an array of shots in his arsenal to end fights swiftly. Only one of his last 16 opponents have heard the final bell. One of his last 16, okay, have heard the final bell. His last 3 certainly hasn't. Cool Boy, Tapales, and Louis Neary. None of them heard the final bell. They heard bells, them bells in their head from them punches, but they didn't hear the final bell of the fight. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry to say that about Cool Boy, but that's the truth. He heard bells. Anyway, has carried his power to each new weight class from 108 to 122. It started at junior flyweight 108. But see, you know, a lot of those classes are just like, 3 pounds. 108 to 122 is only 14 pounds apart, you know. So they need to break some of those small. They could make like 2-3 weight classes out of that, you know. 108, 112, 150, 180, 5 weight classes. When you look at 147, 154, 160, 168, 160, 168, that's 5. That's 21 pounds. But down there is only 14 between them. But he's still done it. He went from 108 to 122 and carried his power every step of the way with him. Yes, he has. The foundation of Inoue's punching power is his impeccable balance. The way he sets up to finish off Fulton was eye-opening in his creativity and execution. I know y'all probably thought, I was talking about this the other day. I can't get over this. Inoue landed a stab jab to the body, okay? Followed by a right cross to the head. Cool Boy was on his way down to the canvas, and Inoue left hook crashed into his face. And Cool Boy got up, but Inoue's killer instinct didn't let him survive. Came out there with a flurry, and the referee mercifully stopped it because it was getting ready to get ugly. Yeah. Stab jab to the body, right cross, left hook. That was all she wrote. That was one of the most vicious stoppages I've ever seen. I've been watching boxing since the 80s. That was one of the most vicious ones I've ever seen. That one Inoue put on Cool Boy. That was vicious. Mm. Cool Boy haven't fought since. Okay. Okay, next is Bud. Bud Crawford. He go up there messing with Canelo. I got Canelo stopping him. And I like Bud. Okay. But that's me. I got Canelo stopping him if they make that fight. You know, they had weight classes for a reason. Now, it'd be something different if he took his time, but he don't have enough time to do all this. Go to 154, couple fights at 160, then go to 168. Bud might even win the fight if he did that, but jumping straight up like he's doing, no. It ain't happening. He ain't stopping Canelo. That's out the question. I don't even think he's going to make it the distance. I got Canelo about 8, 9, or 10. Getting Bud up out of there. But anyway, Terrence Crawford. Knockout rate is 77%. Did I tell you Monsters? Yeah. Monsters was 88%. Bud's is 77%. Okay, right up around 80. Right up around 80%. Okay. Okay, let's see. Trying to see what's going on in the chat. Wilfredo Gomez was 32 with 32 knockouts before being dismantled by Sal Sanchez. Okay. I did not know he had 32. He was 100% then, right? Yeah. Yeah, Salvador Sanchez got him too. Yeah. Okay. Terrence Crawford, 77% knockout rate. Now, Bud proved to be a solid puncher during title reigns at 135 and 140 pounds. But at 147, he reached another power level altogether. He's had 8 fights at 47, 8 stoppages, okay, including 3-belt unified champion Earl the Truth Spence. Crawford's instinct to finish opponents is perhaps the best in the sport of boxing. He's mean and truly wants to punish opponents. Sean Porter had never been stopped. See, that's Sean on him. Oh, you can see the top of Sean, but my passport box story thing got it covered up. Sean Porter had never been stopped, but Crawford stopped him and sent him into retirement. Earl Spence Jr. had never been knocked down before, but Bud dropped him 3 times and finished him off in round 9. Okay. Crawford has power in both hands and throws compact, precise shots that meet their mark. Excuse the noise. Okay. Precise shots that meet their mark. His most spectacular knockout came against David Avenesian when he demolished him with a 1-2 combination that left Avenesian on the mat in a heap. Okay, Bud Crawford. All right. Next, the face of boxing from Baltimore, Maryland, home of Cash Sports. Gervonta Davis, 93% knockout rate. Okay, there he is. 93% knockout rate for Tank Davis, okay? Tank Davis's shot placement is among the best in the sport, a trait that's carried him to the pound-for-pound list. He's patient while he waits for openings. Look no further than his 7th round knockout of Ryan Garcia last year. He used a crisp counter left hand to change the trajectory of the fight in round 2 when he dropped Garcia, remember? Ryan was over aggressive and throwing that left hook, got repetitive, boom, next thing you know he was on the mat. Then Davis ended the fight with a stab jab to the body. His ring IQ is also among the best in the sport. Look no further than his crushing knockout of Leo Santa Cruz in 2020. Santa Cruz got repetitive. Again, remember, unloaded 3 consecutive right hands, only to be timed after the third one by Davis. And Davis used a crushing left uppercut to put Santa Cruz to sleep. You kind of knew early in that fight that it was going to be an uppercut that put Leo. It just seemed that way, and it was. And literally to sleep. Wasn't no TKO or called off by the referee. The man was asleep. The man took a nap. He needed a pillow. And he was smiling. Yeah. He was smiling. Next, Subriel Matias. Just took a loss. But still, you got to include him on that list of dangerous punchers. When you're talking about today's fighters, you're talking about dangerous punchers, you got to talk Subriel Matias, okay? Still has a 100% knockout rate. 2 losses, but all his wins have come by knockout, 100%. Now, Matias is a high-volume punching machine, okay, who overwhelms opponents with activity, but there's serious power behind his shots. All 20 of his wins have come inside the distance. All 20 of them have come by knockout. He had an impressive win against Jeremiah Ponce last year, flattening him in 5 rounds. And then his next fight out, that's when he won the title. His next fight after that, his first defense, he forced Shojahan Ergashev to quit on the stool after a brutal beatdown. Remember? Ergashev was getting beat down so bad, he said his legs was hurt. The man was hitting him in the head and body. So yeah, Subriel Matias, one of the most dangerous punchers of today, just lost his belt Saturday. Guaranteed a knockout in the rematch, but he's not even guaranteed a rematch though. But next on the list of active most dangerous punchers in the sport right now, Jai Opetaia. I got that right because I heard people saying it so much lately. This Jai. What is that? Is that Bivol? It's Jai. It looks like Bivol. Wow. Doesn't it? Sure does. Okay, Jai Opetaia. He has a knockout rate of 76% currently. Okay. Now Opetaia has a lanky puncher's body frame, and his shots have serious snap on them. Opetaia is one of the sport's quickest ascending fighters, with finishes in 5 of his last 6 fights. The only opponent to last the distance during that stretch was Maurice Breedis, who gave Alexander Usyk all he could handle when they met. Opetaia's most impressive knockout came last year against Alex Zorro, when he scored a spectacular 1-punch first-round knockout. Opetaia has quick hands, and his power figures to carry up to heavyweight when he eventually takes the step up from cruiserweight. Okay? Next, Zhilei Zhang. Zhilei Bang Zhang. Zhang has a knockout rate of 81% right now. Yeah, Virgil Ortiz is 100% too, Tom. Right. Yeah. Yeah, Virgil is 100%. Haven't seen too much of him lately, though, so yeah. Is him and Tim Tszyu still on? I thought the fight was called off. Virgil and Tim Tszyu, are they still going to fight? I thought that something came up about Tim's injuries in the Fundora fight and they had called it off or something, but I don't know. Anybody know, let me know. Put it in the chat. But Zhilei Zhang, 81% knockout rate currently. He's called Big Bang Zhang for good reason. At 6'6", 287 pounds, there's tremendous power behind those southpaw punches. You just ask Wilder. And that power was never more evident than in his pair of fights with Joe Joyce, the juggernaut. Joyce has long been regarded for his granite chin, but Zhang cracked it twice last year, First, in April 2023, Zhang completely closed Joyce's right eye with his stunning shots in his upset win. Then 5 months later, in the rematch, Zhang scored a highlight reel knockout with a monster right hook that sent Joyce face first onto the canvas for the 10 count. And even in the only loss of his career, Zhang displayed his dangerous power. He floored Filip Hrgovic in the first round with a big right hand. But Hrgovic got back up to win it. But Zhang did floor him in the first round. Yep. Real power. Billy Zhang. And next is Kenshiro Teraji. Little guy with some pop. Now he only has a 61% knockout rate. Okay. But he can crack. Has some pop down there. Tim Pop dropped on. Okay, thank you, Tom. Yeah, I had heard that. Al Booger in the building. What's up, Al Booger? Haven't seen you in a minute. We are talking about can't find my pen. Dangerous power punches today, and now we're talking about some active guys. We got a couple left. Al Booger, yeah. Talking about some of the dangerous punches that's still active in the sport. Right now, it's Kenshiro Teraji. Okay? Kenshiro Teraji. Okay, wait a minute. Yeah. Only 6% knockout rate. Now, Kenshiro Teraji may be diminutive, but the punch he carries is far from it. He has stopped 4 of his last 5 opponents. With blinding hand speed and solid punching technique, Teraji is a force at 108 pounds. Here's just at 108. Like I was saying, 4 of his last 5 opponents have not reached the 10th round. His most recent knockout victim was Heki Butler, who Teraji stopped in the 9th round. And his dangerous punching is a big part of the reason he continues to dominate the junior flyweight division. Okay, Kenshiro Teraji. And finally, the last one of the active guys is Jaron Boots Ennis. Dangerous puncher. Jaron Boots Ennis. So did Virgil get a replacement, Trump, or he just not on the card anymore? Because, August 3rd, a replacement got plenty of time, Not quite 2 months, but a month and a half. 6 weeks, that's plenty. You get a nice camp in 6 weeks and get ready, Let's see if you keep yourself ready. So I knew, I had heard that they wasn't having a fight, I thought. But did Virgil get a replacement, Trump, or is just not on the card anymore? But yeah, Jaron Boots Ennis. He has a knockout rate right at 90% currently. Okay. Now, Boots Ennis generates serious leverage on his punches. Boots Ennis generates serious leverage on his punches. Wait a minute. Excuse me for a minute. Boots Ennis generates serious leverage on his punches between his balance, footwork, and punch placement. Okay? Balance, footwork, and punch placement. That's where he generates serious leverage from. Boots hasn't proven his power on the elite level, but that's only because he's been avoided to this point, right? The elite's won't fight him. His last fight was an impressive 10th round TKO victory over Roy Monvila. His crushing power was on full display in a trio of fights against solid opposition in 2021-22, starting with a 6th round stoppage of veteran Sergey Lipinets, followed by a 1st round knockout of Thomas Dulorme and a 2nd round knockout of Custio Clayton. Okay, that's about it. But I got 2 women on the uh, talk about Chicago puncher. And Wolf. I went back. And Wolf. There we go. And Wolf. Yeah. But honorable mention for the men. Some other dangerous punches, real quick. David Morrell, Mauricio Lara, Junto Nakatani, Virgil Ortiz Jr., Tim Tszyu, Tyson Fury. I got Virgil in there, Trump. I didn't have a little write-up on him, but yeah. Anyway. And Wolf. 60%, 67% knockout rate. That's good for women's boxing, 67%. You know. Yeah. Yeah. Might as well say 7. 67. Also known as Brown Sugar. Ann Wolf was an elite 8-time champion who disrupted the women's rankings in multiple weight divisions. She's thought of as one of the most powerful women punchers of all time and one of the most powerful women boxers of all time. Some say her overhand right to Vonda Ward's jaw in the first round of their fight was one of the most memorable knockouts in women's boxing history. Ann Wolf. Then we have Savannah Marshall, who they say is the most hardest women's puncher nowadays. And she has a 77% knockout rate. That's very good. For women's boxing, 77% knockout rate is very good. Savannah Marshall's trainer, Peter Fury, says she has devastating power in both hands and is the hardest female puncher in history. I don't know about all that, but I would say right now. But Amanda Serrano might have something to say about that too right now. Now, Marshall is also described as 6 feet tall, bodily strong, and a gifted athlete. Savannah Marshall. There you have it. Power puncher. Okay. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Tomorrow is going to be a extra profile this week. Mike Mason put it in the chat, and that's where Wednesday show comes from, out of the chat. And it's going to be on Tyrone Everett. Very good profile, man. Life was cut short at 24 years old. He was killed, murdered, shot. Idol shot against. Anyway, it was a controversial decision. He clearly won it, but they didn't give it to him. But we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Thursday, our History of the State series continues, where I'm talking about the history of every state in America. This is just the second week. It's going to be Arizona. Remember, Alabama was last week. Arizona. It's just a history of each state, and just a general talk about some significant things about boxing that's happened in the state, and look at some of the boxing clubs and gyms in the state, and then a profile on some of the boxers that came out of the state. Like Arizona has, I can think of one good one, Michael Carvajal from Arizona. Yeah. And Wolf was Kirkland Lang's trainer. Yep, Canelo had a nasty knockout against Kirkland. Yeah. They wouldn't let Ann be in the corner. Is that the one where they wouldn't let Ann be in the corner, Trump? I know it was some fight where they wouldn't let Ann be in the corner. Was that the one? Yeah. Virgil has no fight lined up. Okay. I was looking forward to that. That was one of the big ones on that card, Virgil and Tim. Yeah, but it was one fight where Kirkland Lang was fighting somebody and they wouldn't let Ann be in the corner. I can't remember which one it was. Yeah. But yeah, tomorrow, Thursday, don't forget, we talked about Arizona. Then Friday, the profile is King Carlos Monzon this week. One of those great champions from the 70s, man. And 90% of the guys that were champions in the 70s is in the Hall of Fame. That was just a great decade. I know they call it the golden era of the heavyweight division, but it was just a great decade for boxing, period, in the 70s. Man. You know, Roberto Duran, Esteban de Jesus, Sugar Ray Leonard came along, Wilfred Benitez, Salvador Sanchez, Wilfredo Gomez, of course the heavyweights, Ali, Frazier, Holmes, Norton, Cooney, Bonavina, Tuvalu, Lyle, Shavers, can go on and on and on. Shavers, Cooney, Lyle never won titles because of the era they was in, but no doubt they would be champions nowadays in this era, man. No doubt about it. But they were just in a tougher era. You know, the champions were who? Ali, Frazier, Foreman, Norton, Holmes. Frazier only had 4 losses in his career. Two to Foreman, 2 to Ali. Other than that, nobody beat Smoking Joe. Yeah. But I think it was you, Trump. Yeah. King Carlos Monzon, the profile, he knocked Frazier down in sparring. Yeah. He sure did. They were sparring. You know, King Carlos, smallest Frazier, he was a middleweight, but they probably walked around the street about the same weight. Him and Frazier. Yeah, but he dropped Smoking Joe. Yeah. Sure did. Dropped it in spawn. Oh Lord, I'm trying to do something. Not right. Give me 4 minutes. There we go. Okay, here's the link if anybody's interested. Not. We got a half hour before the voice comes in here and starts building. Still early in the week. Still got a big week planned for you. The NBA finals are over. Congratulations to the Boston Celtics and their fans. Mike Mazik is a Boston fan. Yeah, I kind of thought they were going to win it at home because they really didn't even put up an effort Friday. Dallas beat them by 38, but they came back home yesterday and won it by 18. I knew they would. Yeah. But, Jaylen Brown won the MVP for the finals, deservedly so. Luka Doncic had a great series in a losing cause for Dallas. Kyrie didn't show up. He got better as the series went on, but he didn't have the type of series as he played throughout the playoffs. You know, he really didn't. Give him the assist they needed. So Boston Celtics, that's how you do it. Last year they lost in the conference finals. They took the next step, made it to the finals, and won the championship. Great organization, great management, top to bottom, great organization up there. Always have been. You know, when a team stays good like that, you know, it's the management because the players change. But the management generally stays the same over years, right? And that's what it is. That's the cost. The management. Keep the organization running smoothly. Like you take one like the Washington Wizards, they stay sorry all the time. They got bad management. You're constantly getting lottery picks, top 10 players out of college, but you never get better. You know? Why are you going to take a lottery pick and trade it for some guy in his 30s, right? 5 years from now, that guy in his 30s is out of the league, and your lottery pick on another team averaging 20 points for the next 10 years. That's the type of stuff the Wizards do. Bad management. Mm-hmm. But I didn't see any cards for Saturday. I know it's the Pro Box week, and we have a card Friday. Rafael Espinoza is putting his 126-pound title. His first title defense is Friday. Yep, Espinoza. Winning from Obese. I thought they was going to run that back because that was a great fight, him and Robisi last year. But Robisi must not have had a rematch clause in it. But without a rematch clause, some fights you still deserve a run back when they're good like that, man. Yeah, the Celtics done got like what 3 titles since then. Is this the third one? Mike Massey can tell you. Yeah, they won one with what's up, Tim Layton? Hashtag JBT with the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett era, and they got one now. Yeah, the Celtics stay competitive over the years. hmm This is the second or third one since the Larry Bird era. Yeah, sure is. But salute to Tim Layton in the building. We are winding down. Tim, we had the talk about power punches today. We got a fire profile tomorrow, brought to you by Mike Mazik. It's I keep forgetting the guy's name. The life and career of Tyrone Everett. Tyrone Everett, good slick southpaw boxer. Got robbed of his only title shot. Uh, Life was cut short at he was murdered at 24 years old by his girlfriend. You'll hear about it tomorrow. Don't miss it. It's very good. That was a very, very good pick. Very good one, Mike. Very good profile. Yeah. I enjoyed that one. It's going to be good. He had one title shot. I can't remember who he fought. It's in my notes. I don't feel like going through them right now. But you'll hear about it tomorrow. But he got robbed. He clearly won the fight. Outpointed the guy. Yeah. And it was the guy was from Puerto Rico, I think. And they were scheduled to have the rematch down in Puerto Rico. It had been signed and everything, but then he got murdered. Right? He was getting ready for the rematch. Because he had the first fight in Philly. The champion came to Philly where he lived. And he beat him, but they robbed him. And then they was getting ready to have a rematch down in Puerto Rico where the champion was from. But he got killed before it could happen. But yeah, man. That is going to be a great, great profile. Uh-oh, there I go. Hope I didn't erase nobody. I don't see Thomas Hill in here because I can't get him today. I've got T Hill 2 times hitting buttons and stuff. I'm going to tell you who that fight that Robbie was against when he really won the title when they robbed him. I can't wait till I'm on. But the life and career of Tyrone Everett, that is going to be good. We'll tell you about Mike Mazik. Mike Mazik said he got tired of those hits. Yeah. Jimmy the Cat Dupree. Jim. What did I say the guy's name was again? Everett. Oh boy. Tyrone Everett. Yeah. Tyrone Everett. Don't miss it tomorrow. That is going to be a fire profile. Anybody else? You want to see your profiles or shows? Put it in the chat. My favorite saying. Put it in the chat. We're gonna have to get a T-shirt, Remo, if you're still in here. Put it in the chat. Damn it. But yeah, I think tomorrow is the kickoff of the new season for the hashtag Let's Talk Fashion. Yeah. They're returning tomorrow for the second season. Very successful first season we had. Yeah. We got some other new shows going on. We got Angry White Men with William O. School of Rant and D1. And the name fits them like a glove. They're both angry and they're both white men. Always angry. Old School was angry on here yesterday. Something happened down there in this neighborhood. Yeah, you should have heard him. He was ranting on the JBT panel show yesterday. Yeah. And then we got prison talk with Tommy. Coach Thomas Morris. We'll talk about his journey through the prison system up there in New York. Now he's a successful personal trainer with his first child on the way. So what a story. What a story. This can't be nothing but a fire channel. Prison Talk with Tommy. And I can't find Alfredo Escalera. That's who I thought it was, yeah. He challenged Alfredo Escalera and he beat him, but he didn't get the nod. They gave it to Escalera. Like I say, Everett was a slick southpaw. But they gave the fight to Escalera. And they had signed to have the rematch in Puerto Rico because the first fight was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where Everett was from. And they signed to have the second fight in Puerto Rico, where Escalera was from. But Everett got killed before we got to the rematch. Yeah. 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 Number 18. Okay. Yeah. I think it was his girlfriend, Trump. I gotta look at it again. Yeah. Right. But they were like some kind of way mixed up in the drug world. There was a whole lot involved. But we're gonna go over the whole thing tomorrow, yeah. But I think they were mixed up in the drug world. You know how that goes. And yeah. This one was money was changing hands, but this one wasn't getting did their share of it, and you know how that goes. He got murdered, you know. But it's a very good profile. Like I said, very slick southpaw fighter, very good fighter, only 24 years old. If he hadn't got murdered, we would be talking about him today. He would probably be at the International Boxing Hall of Fame because he had all the tools to make it. And like I said, he won a world championship, but he got robbed. Yeah. So he had the tools to beat somebody in the sport. Yeah, but his life was cut short. That reminds me of the profile you gave me, Trump, Salvador Sanchez, man. Look how legendary he's in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, former champion, one of the greatest Mexican fighters ever, arguably the best featherweight ever. And his life was cut short at 23 years old, man. Just think if Salvador Sanchez would have went through his prime up into his 30s and had an entire career. He's legendary just going to 23 years old, man. Just think if he would have had an entire career. It wouldn't be any argument about who the best featherweight ever was. He'd probably be thought of as the greatest Mexican fighter ever. Look at all the accolades he get, and his career ended at 23. Featherweight champion in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Look at the big names he beat, starting with Wilfredo Gomez. So that's crazy. That's crazy. But he had a car accident. His life was cut short. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you. Yeah, Salvador Sanchez was killed in a car accident. Yeah. I forgot who he was getting ready to fight. Yeah. But just a legendary career, man. You look at everything he accomplished, it's hard to believe that he only fought till he was 23 years old. He had a career of somebody fighting up into the 30s, man. This man wasn't even nowhere near his prime. That is amazing. Just amazing. Wasn't even nowhere near his prime, 23. Where the average fighter starts, 21 to 23, somewhere around there. That's where he was at. But he started, I think he was 17. Somewhere around in there. 17 down in Mexico. Yeah. But just legendary. Salvador Sanchez, one of my favorites, man. One of my absolute favorite fighters. Salvador, yeah. Alexis Arguello, that's it, Trump. That's right. He was, yup. I knew it was, I think of the name, but yeah, it was Alexis. But isn't that amazing how legendary he started up and he didn't even get past his 23rd birthday? 23 years old. You would think he was somebody up into his 30s. He didn't even get close to his prime. It's scary to think if this man had an entire, what he would have been. Wow. Yeah. Salvador Sanchez. I did a profile on Trump. Requested that one. Yeah. We're winding down to Just Do Boxing now. Coming up next in the YouTube. YouTube streets. Early in the JBT day. Today is just Tuesday though. Pro Box tomorrow. I'll be talking about what's happening on Pro Box at the beginning of the show tomorrow. A little preview of it. You know how we do it at Cast Sports. Yeah, let you know who's on there, who's fighting. Yeah, don't sleep on that Pro Box. You see some good stuff on there. Might even see Bomac. I've seen Bomac's been on there like 3 times with Keyshawn's brother Calvin. Yeah. I don't know if Calvin's older or younger than Keyshawn. I think he's older. Just Do Boxing today is the best. What is the best fight for Gervonta Davis? Does Shakur don't deserve that fight? That's the question. Does Shakur deserve that fight? Haney can't punch. Coming up on Just Do Boxing in about 10 minutes today. That's what he's going to be building on, among other things. Yeah. 3 big questions. The best fight for Gervonta Tank Davis? Shakur doesn't deserve Tank fight? Devin Haney can't punch? Can't take Tank's punch? All that's coming up on Just Do Boxing in 10 minutes. Okay? And coming up here tomorrow is the life and career of Tyrone Everett. Didn't even have to look at it that time. It's going to be a good one. Continue our history of the state series Thursday with Arizona. Right now, I can only think of one boxer from Arizona. That's Michael Carvajal. But I know I'm gonna find some other good ones. I know Michael was from Arizona, world champion. What was he down like straw weight, around in that area? I think he went up to junior flyweight. Yeah. I'm closing in on monetization too. I'm within 100 hours. So soon you'll be seeing that little dollar sign down in the corner there. You know how you see them big chats? You see that little dollar sign down in the corner on Cast Sports. Yeah. Cash App is open now. But oh yeah, the raffle. Don't forget the JBT raffle too. $10 for a 55-inch color TV. Okay? Just send $10 to this Cash App right here. Or have $10 per chance. However many chances you want. Okay? Dollar sign, all caps. JBT Network, the number 1. Dollar sign, JBT Network, all caps, the number 1. Send $10 per chance, and you're in. Think about John Moran had a discussion about greatest b-ball players. Jordan Bird, Magic, the youngster said LeBron, John Moran. Nah, LeBron. John, are they crazy? Bird and Magic and Jordan and all of them is up here, and LeBron and John Moran and all of them is way down there somewhere, man. Nah, no way. But a younger person would say that they didn't see those. They didn't see Jordan, Bird, Magic, all of them, you know. So that, you know, they're going to say the players from their era. You know what I mean? Yeah. They didn't see those guys. It was a different game back then, you know. Some of these young guys couldn't even play in that era, man. Because what they call fouls now, they were no calls back then. Fouls back then are flagrants now. A regular 2-shot foul back then is a flagrant thrown out of the game now. Remember how the Pistons used to do Michael Jordan? Somebody did that now, they probably get suspended and fined. So a lot of these youngsters couldn't play back then, especially these big men standing outside shooting 3-pointers 7 feet tall. Like that guy in San Antonio. He couldn't play back in the 80s. The 7'10" guy, whatever, 8'5", whatever he is. What is the guy in San Antonio? They would break him into 3 pieces back in the day, man. Could you see him in there against Ewan, Elijah Wan, Robert Parrish, or somebody? That big 7'5", 140-pound guy that's playing on the Spurs. He couldn't make it. 7'5" shooting 3-pointers. Yeah. The game has changed, man. Yeah. Or they couldn't play. The entire team would probably be suspended. You know? The stuff they did in games are flagrants and you get suspended and fined for now. They were just regular fouls back then. Yeah. It's definitely a different game. But Jordan, Bird, Magic, all of them, man. Ja Morant, LeBron, not even in their league. Ja Morant. Oh, man. He hasn't even done anything yet. How many championships does he have? That's what Jordan, Bird, Magic, they measure their greatness by championships. How many championships Ja Morant got? How many finals has LeBron lost? So, yeah, that's what those guys back then measure their greatness by championships. Banners hanging in the rafters. Boston just hung another one up there last night. How many is hanging in Memphis? I don't think there's any up there. Not even a conference. Those guys back then, the Boston, LA, Chicago, they didn't hang conference championship banners. They only hung league championship. If you won the conference, they put that in the trash. To them guys, only the league championships counted. You know, I heard them say, we don't hang up conference champions. You go to these arenas nowadays, you see Eastern Conference champions, all that nonsense. They didn't hang that stuff up back in the old days. That went in the trash, man. Only thing counted was league championship. But it's a different game, you know. It's a much softer, washed down game. There's a lot more teams in the league, so that means a lot more players. So naturally, the talent level is going to go down, just like boxing. All these different divisions and different champions. Of course, the talent level is going to go down. The more people you bring into it, you know. So just natural thing, you know. That's all. Yeah. Oh yeah, all them guys, man. Yeah. They probably couldn't play nowadays, though. The type of game they played back then. They wouldn't have any money. They would be fined every game. Because regular fouls back then are flagrant now, where you get thrown out and fined. You know, what these guys nowadays are used to. They look up and miss the shot, the first thing they do is look at the referee and start whining. He fouled me. But yeah, it's a different game. Different era, different game, you know. Hard to compare from so many years apart. You know. Definitely a softer game. Like football. Definitely a softer game. The quarterback should just wear a flag in football now. Everybody else can get tackled, the quarterback just wear a flag. You know. I like the penalty. You got a big 300-pound defensive lineman coming at full speed, and then the referee gives him a penalty for tackling the quarterback too damn hard. That's the most ridiculous penalty I've ever seen in any sport. He tackled the quarterback too hard. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. Bernard King, yeah. Remember I know Mike, I know you remember the Texas Massacre. Mike knows what I'm talking about, the Texas Massacre. Bernard went down there in Texas, put up 50 against the Spurs, put up 50 against the Mavericks, and put up 50 against the Rockets, all in the same week, back in the 70s. It was called the Texas Massacre. I know you remember that, Mike? Bernard King. Yeah, the Texas Massacre. Wow, I'm having so much fun. I got to get out of here now. It's time for Just Jew Boxing. All right. Tim Layton, hashtag JBT, Al Booger, Trump, Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Mike Rim, Just Do Boxing, Freestyle Media Sport. Lonnie Lee, hashtag JBT. Let's Talk Fashion, hashtag JBT. I think the next season starts tomorrow. Thomas Hill, hashtag JBT. Melanin Queen 27. Mike Mazik, Ryan Frazier. Appreciate everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. The life and career of Tyrone Everett tomorrow. Just Do Boxing straight ahead. Cash Sports. Everybody have a great day.